这全部倒了，不知道这做什么的，全部关门了。杠精可以闭嘴了吧？这全部都是关了的，倒闭了的。大家还敢来这种商场创业吗？全部都关门了。
An online video has revealed a once bustling mall in Shanghai now sits largely empty after years of operation, with most of its various stores having gone out of business. One netizen, pointing at a row of closed shops in the street, said, 2023 has been a particularly difficult year for workers in Shanghai. People used to think it was relatively easy to make money working in Shanghai, but now it might be more likely to lose money. Today is the Dragon Boat Festival and it's 5:20 in the afternoon. We are at Wonder Plaza. Behind me is Wonder's Golden Street. Everyone says it's half dead, with hardly any business. 6 consecutive storefronts have signs indicating they are for lease or transfer. On the other side of the street, it's the same story. Even inside Wonder Plaza, there aren't many people. The video shooter indicated, lamenting that the street once swarmed with people, but now at least 30% of the shops are vacant. An owner pondered, for decades, the brick-and-mortar stores were filled with people, but now they stand empty. It's extremely puzzling. Should we continue to operate, or should we close up and leave? We have poured so much effort into these stores. A lady who runs a physical store shared, customers used to flood the shop without even blinking. Now only essential items are being purchased. Sometimes we can't even make the day's rent. She mentioned that even after relaxing pandemic control measures for half a year, the result was not the revitalization of all industries, but rather widespread unemployment and closures. At the beginning of the year, many newcomers flooded into entrepreneurship, but they couldn't hold out for more than a few months. Even the streets that used to be bustling are now desolate. A shop owner recollected, I've been in business for 20 years and running a convenience store for 7 years. This year has been the worst and it looks like it would only get tougher. Business has been bad from 2021 to 2023. I'm in debt by over 300,000 RMB, or accumulated over the past 3 years. I was hoping business would pick up, but even after half of 2023 has passed, there's been no improvement. Prior to 2019, his shop would be packed during the holidays. Now, tourists are very purposeful, engaging in budget travel and consuming only the essentials, apart from food, clothing and accommodation. Another netizen shared that his friend had 2 properties which had been vacant for over 3 months, and even with reduced rent, no one was interested in renting.
他说在过去20多年都没有过这种现象。
In the past 20 years, I've never seen this. It seems the economy is more sluggish than ever before. During a board meeting, he heard his CEO mention that the revenue was quite normal from January to March of this year, but he saw a sudden slump in April.
Hello， 大家，你能想到今年突然爆满的一个科室是精神科吗？连黄牛都说不知道怎么了，今天人特别多，很难约上号。今天一去，我的妈，这一电梯子全是上6楼看精神病的，这都快到中午了，还是有这么多人在排号。
The web video also showed that psychiatric departments in hospitals have suddenly become crowded this year, making it hard to book appointments. A taxi driver hypothesized,
今年一定会经历一波比较大的洗礼啊。
Offline businesses would definitely experience a significant shake-up this year because many consumers currently lack money. People are reluctant to spend, opting to save instead. This is the reality for the vast majority of Chinese people today. Extreme control of the COVID-19 pandemic by the Chinese Communist Party from 2020 to 2022 led to the collapse of numerous enterprises and substantial unemployment in China. hastening the transfer of foreign capital and supply chains out of the country. After abandoning their zero-COVID policy early this year, China's economic recovery has been lackluster, showing continuous downward trends. In the second half of 2023, it has become increasingly difficult for the masses to make money, with cautious spending and downgraded consumption becoming the new norm. According to data from a research report by CICC, China had 1.33 billion people with monthly incomes under 5,000 yuan in 2022, accounting for 94.8% of the total population of 1.4 billion. According to data from the National Bureau of Statistics of China, in 2022, the national per capita wage income was 20,590 yuan, with an average monthly wage income of 1,715 yuan. The lower income families still comprise the vast majority of Chinese households. On July 8 of this year, at the 2023 Qingdao China Wealth Forum, hosted by the Qingdao Municipal Government, former Deputy Director of the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences, Cai Fang, admitted that consumption has become a chronic obstacle hindering China's economy. The proportion of household consumption expenditures in GDP has begun to decline, and the proportion of total savings exceeding total investment has gradually increased. Cai Fang suggested that the government should implement policies to stimulate consumption, and that reform of the household registration system, easing restrictions on urban settlement, could yield immediate results. He estimated that based on the income level of migrant workers, their consumption was suppressed by 23%. If China's 180 million migrant workers became city residents, consumption expenditures could increase by about 2 trillion yuan. However, netizens have commented that this is not the case. 3 years of pandemic control has made it hard for the lower classes to earn money, and how much savings can they possibly have? With the change in household registration, the rise in consumption prices makes people even less willing to spend. With elders and children to take care of and money needed in many areas, without fundamentally solving problems like housing, healthcare, pensions, education, and unemployment, how can ordinary people dare to spend freely? Zhang Jun, Dean of the School of Economics at Fudan University, pointed out at the 2023 NetEase Economists Annual Meeting Summer Forum that China currently has the world's highest savings rate, not because Chinese people are rich, but rather they are not so rich. The CCP, in pursuit of economic growth, has funneled more money into infrastructure, while the majority of family expenditures for childbirth, education, healthcare, and pensions are borne by the families themselves, which is rare in other countries worldwide. Taiwanese businessman Liao Jingzong pointed out in the whistleblowing Fact Wire program that some people mistakenly think that China's domestic demand is high, but actually China now has only about 100 million people with real purchasing power, whereas there used to be around 200 million. China's current consumer market has been diminished to the level of subsistence consumption. Hong Kong's consumption capacity has also decreased a lot now that it has been locked down. I've heard that some retail shops in Jimsha-zhou in Hong Kong are empty. Official data show that China's economy has entered a state of comprehensive weakness rare in the last 40 years. In the first half of this year, China has seen a continuous rise in unemployment, a constant decrease in overseas orders, a large number of businesses going under, and a prolonged slump in key industries such as real estate. Consumer spending has also been sluggish. The so-called three engines that once drove China's economic growth, investment, exports, and consumption, have all gone out. The Chinese Communist Party officially announced on July 10 that the Consumer Price Index (CPI) in June showed a year-on-year increase of 0%, while the Producer Price Index (PPI) saw a year-on-year drop of negative 5.4%. This signifies that domestic and foreign demands are both weakening. Following the Russo-Ukrainian War, the world is facing immense inflationary pressure, while China is experiencing deflation. Internationally, as the United States and its allies intensify technology and economic sanctions against China, the renminbi's exchange rate keeps hitting recent lows, further eroding public confidence in China's economy. On July 12, China's three major indices, Shanghai Composite Index, Shenzhen Component Index, Qi Next Index, all declined. The Shanghai Composite Index saw a decrease of 0.78%, with over 4,000 stocks in the Shanghai and Shenzhen markets falling, plunging market sentiment to rock bottom. China's stock market was once the most attractive market in Asia. But as the Chinese economy stumbles, investors have shifted their focus elsewhere. According to data released by the China National Bureau of Statistics, the unemployment rate among young people aged 16 to 24 reached 20.8% in May, and the actual figure could be even higher. By comparison, this figure stood at 18.4% at the end of last year. In the face of such a severe unemployment situation, in order to retain the status of a recent graduate to assist in the prospects of job hunting, universities have even witnessed a phenomenon of students intentionally failing subjects to delay graduation. On the afternoon of June 14, the topic a group of top Chinese university graduates choose to voluntarily postpone graduation was at one point trending on Weibo. The youth marriage rate has also fallen to a 37-year low. The term 4 No Youth began trending on mainland internet in March, referring to those who do not date, do not marry, do not buy property, and do not have children. The decision to embrace the 4 no's has accumulated into a silent and despairing form of resistance. This phenomenon has caught the attention of the government. It is rumoured that a document issued by the Guangzhou Municipal Committee of the Communist Youth League points out that the phenomenon of 4 No Youth in Guangzhou is on the rise. According to a special survey on the development status of Guangzhou youth, among the 15,501 valid questionnaires collected, 1,215 were filled out by university students or employed youth who identified with the 4 no's, making up nearly 8% of the total. The real estate industry in mainland China continues to struggle. The Financial Times reported on May 5th that the real estate sales by property area in 3rd and 4th tier cities in China accounted for 2/3 of the country's total. Currently, a large number of 3rd and 4th tier cities have seen substantial declines in housing prices. Especially in the second half of 2021 and 2022, the average price of second-hand houses in many cities fell by 20 to 30% compared to the peak in 2019, with some cities experiencing a decline of more than 30%. Excavators hold a pivotal position in the Chinese construction machinery market as the product category with the largest scale and one that is used early in the construction phase. The sales of excavators in China have been showing a downward trend since mid-2021, which continues to this day. According to the China Construction Machinery Association's statistics from major excavator manufacturers, 15,766 excavators of all kinds were sold in June this year, a year-on-year decrease of 24.1%, with the domestic decline far exceeding exports, hitting a staggering 44.7%. In fact, since the outbreak of the Sino-US trade war, the Chinese authorities have issued several notices urging all levels of government to tighten their belts and prepare to live frugally. In March of this year, Liu Kun, Minister of Finance of the Chinese Communist Party, emphasized at a press conference that the government living frugally is not a short-term response measure, but a policy guideline that should be adhered to in the long term. The Ministry of Human Resources and Social Security of China recently released the minimum wage standards for all 31 provinces and municipalities in the country as of July 1, 2023. Among them, Shanghai, with a minimum wage standard of 2,690 RMB, still tops the list. However, 15 provinces have a minimum wage below 2,000 RMB, with Liaoning having the lowest at 1,420 RMB per month. Calculated on an hourly basis, the hourly wage in Shanghai is 24 RMB, while in Liaoning it's 14.3 RMB. According to a report from Radio Free Asia on July 5th, the minimum wage standard in Sichuan province is 2,100 RMB, with the lowest hourly rate being 20 RMB. Mr. Xu, a resident of Chengdu, said an hourly wage of over 20 RMB is quite low because the cost of living is high now. Some people can't find a job, and some older people are not wanted by employers. Mr. Xu added that many development projects have been halted and many migrant workers can't find jobs. An elderly man carries more than 20 boxes of instant noodles up a mountain. In reality, the officially announced minimum wage might not be accurate. Due to government inaction, many companies promise one wage when hiring, but end up paying a lower wage when it comes to payday. Additionally, workers often work more than the 44 hours per month limit stipulated by Chinese labor laws, without receiving any overtime pay. Citing insiders involved in policy discussions, Reuters reported that mainland China will introduce more stimulus measures this year to support the economy. However, due to concerns about debt and capital flight, these measures will focus on boosting weak consumer and private demand. Many cities in China have previously imposed a blanket ban on street vending. Instances of vendors being chased away or even beaten by urban management officers are commonplace in online videos. In 2020, then Chinese Premier Li Keqiang proposed the street store economy, describing it as the fireworks of humanity. This phrase, which was neglected and mocked by official media at the time, has now become a lifeline under the current Chinese Premier Li Qiang's administration. As early as September 2022, the Standing Committee of the Shanghai Municipal People's Congress passed revisions to the Shanghai Municipal Appearance and Environmental Sanitation Regulations. These changes deviated from the previous practice of entirely prohibiting the distribution of commercial promotional materials and street vending, allowing for the latter. The new rules came into effect on December 1 of the same year. Shenzhen, which previously banned street vending and encroachment on public spaces, revised the Shenzhen Special Economic Zone Urban Appearance and Environmental Sanitation Regulations in April this year. The revision allows neighborhood officers to designate vending areas and permits businesses to display and sell goods beyond their doors and windows. These new regulations will take effect on September 1, 2023. In fact, since the start of this year, cities such as Beijing, Shanghai, Hangzhou, Kunming, Xiamen, and Chengdu have gradually introduced regulations to relax restrictions on street vending and permit the outdoor display of commercial products. Overseas Chinese commentator Tang Jingyuan noted that the revival of the street store economy suggests a crumbling overall economic landscape. The large number of unemployed people has significantly impacted societal stability, forcing the authorities to swallow their pride and allow the unemployed to return to street vending. Another Chinese commentator, Fang Yuan, expressed to Radio Free Asia that China's economy has regressed from striving for the high end to heading towards the low end. The street store economy is actually one of the most primitive economic models. Even Shenzhen, as a vanguard of reform, is taking this route. The most advanced place is following the most backward model, which indicates the economy is truly at a dead end. When all other roads lead to nowhere and there are no better alternatives, we have no choice but to resort to the most basic economic model. It's truly a return to the conditions at the beginning of the reform era. In terms of online shopping, major e-commerce platforms like Taobao and JD.com have turned the knife on themselves. With the emergence of new competitors like Douyin and Kuaishou, competition through low-price strategies has intensified, marking the arrival of an era of intense competition within the e-commerce sector. According to a report by the finance magazine Late Post, in late May this year, Jack Ma convened a small-scale communication meeting with the heads of various businesses within the Alibaba Group. As several Alibaba employees relayed, Ma pointed out that the current competition is extremely serious. The upcoming opportunity lies with Taobao rather than Tmall, meaning Alibaba's e-commerce should return to Taobao. This implies that small and medium-sized businesses will receive greater online traffic support in the future. In other words, Alibaba is also shifting towards a low-price strategy. Similarly, JD.com's founder Liu Qiangdong stated after last year's Singles Day that low pricing had been their most crucial weapon for success in the past and would continue to be their only fundamental weapon. Liu warned managers that many grassroots consumers still seek the ultimate cost-performance ratio in consumption. They should make every effort to reduce prices and elevate services by improving supply chain efficiency. In March this year, JD.com launched a multi-billion subsidy campaign directly targeting e-commerce platform Pinduoduo. As a platform that has fully reaped the benefits of low pricing, Pinduoduo's recent performance proves the downgrade in Chinese consumption. In the first quarter of this year, Pinduoduo achieved a revenue of 37.64 billion yuan, a year-on-year increase of 58.2%. In previous 618 shopping festivals, Taobao and Tmall, aiming for total transaction volume, mainly promoted high unit price products such as iPhones. This year, they cancelled related subsidies, allocating funds to products that could stimulate user activity, such as low-priced, multi-purchase goods like phone cases, screen protectors, and charging cables. 2023 may be the year when the Chinese economy officially collapses, a predicament that is the result of years of accumulation. It has been 22 years since China joined the WTO, yet the vast majority of households remain in the low-income group. The corruption among all officials is incurable, and the autocratic nature of the Chinese Communist Party has not changed in the slightest. Before 2020, the high-speed growth of China's economy masked many problems. Now, as the economy recedes like the tide, all the previously hidden issues will surface, posing a tremendous challenge to the CCP regime in the future.